tricky, so hairstylist Tara Abramowicz from Salon 241 and Redken Artist is here to show us how to do it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So sometimes our hair grows out, we don't have time to get to the hairstylist, but we want to get the bangs trimmed. What tips do you have to make it a successful trimming?
Well, you know, first thing I have to say, super important, is if you've got cowlicks or any crazy hair, I always suggest just let your hairstylist do your bang trim.
But don't even try it yourself.
Don't even go there
Okay.
because, you know, we all know we've had cowlick problems before if you have one, where your hair's crazy and spiking out. So I think it's super important to realize your natural growth pattern. But also, if you know, there are times where you don't necessarily have those couple moments to go to the stylist. And you know, we would much rather you have some tips and know how to do it the right way than show up and now we have to fix it.
And it's a total disaster.
Absolutely.
Okay. So to avoid that, what do you have for us?
So this is our beautiful mannequin here, and she's got a little bit of a grown out fringe. So I think a lot of times what happens when we try to cut our own bangs is, first of all, we do it when our hair is wet. And that's the worst thing you want to do, because when your hair is wet and then it dries, it tends to just shrink up a bit. So when your hair tends to shrink up, obviously it's not going to look so nice as it dries.
And it's probably shorter than what you expected it to be.
Absolutely. So I always say when your hair is, when you're trying to trim your bangs, make sure that you do them dry. Also, a lot of times we'll comb our hair differently that day. So if you see these pieces that perhaps maybe shouldn't have been there from the very first place, don't go crazy and just start cutting them.
Oh, okay.
I know this stuff sounds like it's common sense, but a lot of times we're like, well, I'll just cut that piece. And next thing we know, we've got a little bit of bangs and side land over here.
So you want to make sure that you comb your hair the way you would every other day.
Absolutely. And if you see some hairs hanging, there's nothing wrong with just grabbing them and moving them out of the way.
Okay, so what are your trimming tips? This is the part that makes me nervous.
Absolutely. So if you've got a little bit of a side bang or even just straight across, go to the point where your part is. So for instance, here on Viola, her part is a little bit more over her left eye. So I'm going to start there just by pinching a little section, probably about a half inch wide, grabbing it the long way vertically and just taking the tiniest bit off. Now, not going crazy, because even if you say, hey, I'm going to cut this much off, guess what? You can cut more.
Yeah, you can always cut more, but you can't add more bang.
Absolutely. So then you would just move on to either side, doing the same thing, the same amount. And what'll end up happening is you'll actually just start opening your face right up, and you can even see where you had cut the hair previously.
Oh, okay.
Do you see how it's starting to open up just a little bit?
Because we haven't cut right here yet.
Right, we haven't cut over there because we started one way. And the thing is, a lot of times we'll grab our bangs also as one big wide piece. So you'll take an entire section like this and you'll just start cutting it. But it's all about working slowly.
Okay, you're saying not to do that. And I think sometimes when we're like, I got to trim my own bangs, I don't have time to go to the hairstylist, so I'm just going to cut straight across. And you're
Absolutely.
saying, no, take your time.
In a lot of the YouTube videos, you'll see somebody grab an entire section and give you a really cool trick or a twist or a way to do it in one shot. Don't go there. Do not go there.
Do not try the YouTube tricks. Okay, we got it.
So basically just continuing on with that angle as you work across, and you can see her hair is starting to open up properly.
Yeah, you can actually start to see her eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were to come back after in the very end and just kind of take your scissors and just kind of blend as much as possible, as much as you can without knowing what you're doing, right? And just opening it up. So now you see that there's some little shy pieces here around her eyes, and then just kind of forming them around her face. Now obviously we would cut these, you know, a bit shorter if we want to see, but keep in mind when you style, they will jump up quite a bit.
So even when you take a straightener or a curling iron to it, they're going to become shorter.
Absolutely, always, always, always. So if you want to cut more off, start in the same pattern where your part is, grab the whole section and pinch it, and again, just go in vertically.
And about how much shorter do they get when you style it?
Well, when you style it, hair can jump up anywhere from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. So just keep that in mind while you're cutting, you know, your own hair. This could jump up about a 1/2 inch. If you aren't happy with your bangs a 1/2 inch shorter, don't cut them any shorter than that.
So would a good suggestion to be cut it, style it, and then see the length that it's at. And if you want more, cut more later.
Absolutely. A lot of stylists, if you go to your, if you go to the hair salon, they'll style your hair and cut your fringe at the very end because they want to make sure it goes with the way they've styled it that day.
Oh, okay, great. And then can you do the same tip? Like, what if you have a swoop bang? Is that a little harder to do yourself?
It is a bit harder to do yourself. What I would say is continue by taking smaller sections. And if you feel like you're taking a lot of hair off, start over or just go to your hairstylist again and make sure that you've got the right angle going. You'd be surprised how many times I've gone to cut somebody's hair and they say, yeah, I cut my bangs and it looked pretty good.
Oh, well, there you go. So you can do it yourself.
Absolutely.
It is something that you can achieve. Just go slow and make sure you're not cutting too much off.
Yes, and make sure the hair is dry.
All right. Oh, that's a big tip that you said at the beginning. Well, thank you for being here with us and teaching us how to style our own bangs.
No
we appreciate
problem.
it.
Thank you very, very much.
To see these tips again, visit us online at mymessappeal.com later today.